Welcome to Pick Yourself Up show. I am Assegid Habtewold, your host. The majority of immigrant entrepreneurs are small business owners. Likewise, the majority of employers in our county and also around the country, they are small businesses. And also, the majority of small businesses are the ones that are facing setback after setback compared to large corporations. That's why we have this show. Today, we're going to talk about small businesses. In the studio, we have a special guest. His name is Garnes. He's the founder of a Small Business CEO. Thank you very much, Glenn, for coming
pleasure.
and being here.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. If I have to use one word to describe you, if I use connector, does that precisely describe you?
I think that's a pretty good one, especially based on my history. One of the things I cherish is my ability to get people who should be working together, collaborating, working in some fashion together, get them together to do business with each other. So yes, connector is a good one.
All right, awesome. Let me take you back when you decided to establish Small Business CEO. What prompted you? What was the reason, the main reason that caused you, I'm going to open a Small Business CEO?
So there were a couple things, and I'll start with a little bit of my history. I am a retired business attorney, so I represented small businesses in the majority of my business practice and my law practice, and I had an opportunity to see what made them successful, what caused them to struggle, and what kinds of resources that they needed to be successful in business. And when I closed my law firm, because I was myself ready for a new entrepreneurial endeavor, I wanted to be doing something else, the one thing that I saw that I could have an impact with was helping to share the insights that I had learned from being in business myself and representing people in business to be able to educate other business owners and hopefully shorten their learning curve and help them to learn more from other people's mistakes rather than having to make them all themselves.
So I assume that you were very successful as an attorney and you were having a wonderful profession. So you had that compassion and that, I would say, call for you to decide to help small business owners.
So let me clarify one thing about my law practice. You're mostly right there, but let me explain that. I actually found myself not feeling fulfilled in my law practice as my career went on.
Okay.
Yeah, my bank account was full, but my heart was empty. I didn't feel like I was able to have the kind of impact that I really wanted to have. And I knew that if I could make the decision to move in a new direction, being an educator, helping people as a mentor rather than representing them in court as an advocate, that I could have a greater impact because I could only represent one person at a time in front of a jury. But I could walk into a room filled with entrepreneurs and teach them something that would make a difference in their business.
I like that because, you know, one of the things that I push personally is to help people understand that unless you find your passion, it's very hard for you to be successful. And you found your passion, and now you are making impact as an educator.
That's exactly right. And I've always been a big advocate for understanding and utilizing technologies, not to replace human relationships, but to enhance them. So I consider myself to be the kind of person who's always experimenting, always on the cutting edge, always pioneering, so that I can help someone else understand what's coming or what's here now that they could be taking advantage of. And it just so happens that the passion I have the greatest interest in is small business, entrepreneurship, helping people get started in business.
Educators are shepherds, so they need to go ahead of their sheep so that they could be able first to test the environment, the water, and make sure that their sheep gonna get what they need, the water, the pasture, and protect them and so on. So you're doing your job as a shepherd to empower small businesses.
Yeah, I like to think of it that way, and especially when you think about the fact that, you know, you and I have talked about servant leadership in the past, and you know, leadership is always about the service that you deliver to others. It's not about power. It's not about enhancing your own profile. It's about how you inspire other people to reach their full potential. And one of the things that I know from personal experience is that a lot more people are exploring entrepreneurship, but they're having difficult times because our culture has been to prepare people to go work for someone else. So by the time they make the decision to go into business for themselves, they're not going to go back to college or to school to learn how to do that. They've got to learn that either just on the fly, or when we have programs like what we've put together, through other entrepreneurs that have traveled the path that they've been on.
I think in that case, I read one statistics which say that 9 out of 10 small businesses go out of business within the first 5 years. Now, you're saying that the main reason for failure for small businesses is the lack of the mindset.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit about that.
Yeah.
A lot of the news articles will tell you it's because of lack of capital and lack of access to resources and things of that nature. But I have found from my personal experience that you can make up for all of those things by having the right mindset. So I like to think that most of the businesses could shift their success rate by simply having greater focus on the mindset of entrepreneurship before they go into it. In other words, one of the big things that a lot of people don't understand is that when you're in business for yourself, you don't have to be in business by yourself. Even if you don't have the capital to hire employees, if you surround yourself with the right people, you have the ability to get access to resources that you'd normally have to pay for if you have the right alliances with other people. So you can make up for lack of capital by having the right relationships in place, which is why being a connector is so important.
Exactly. I remember we talked about, hating your boss should not be the main reason why you open your own business.
But you know what? That is one of the reasons I hear when people come to me and I ask them, what made you decide to get into business for yourself? Oh, I hated what I was doing at work. And I'm thinking to myself that hating your boss is not the best reason to go into business for yourself, but I guess any reason is better than no reason.
Oh yeah, exactly, because somebody may be excellent in terms of accounting, IT, engineering, and so on. You may have the technical skills, but if you don't have the necessary soft skills, the mindset, the ability to connect with people, to brand yourself, to market yourself, and making sure that you connect with people at a deeper level, it's very hard to succeed in a business.
That's true. And the good news is that all those things you just described are things you can develop the skill set for. You can learn those things. It's not something you're born with, in other words. The problem for most small business owners when they first get started is that they have not been enculturated with the understanding that's necessary to be successful as an entrepreneur. They look at their boss, they look at what they do, they look at the kind of money they make, and they automatically assume, I can do that too, or I can do better. But they don't really have a full appreciation for what it took to build the infrastructure that might be in, part of their business environment. And it becomes a culture shock for them when they do jump out and find out that, for example, they need insurance, they need bonding, they need an understanding of profit and loss statements, which most employees don't have to worry about those things unless they're in the HR or the accounts receivable department or something like that. So it becomes quite a bit of a culture shock for them to understand that, wow, there's a lot more to being in business for myself than I thought. And then it's too late for them to run back and get a job.
So what do you advise to people who are thinking to open their own businesses? Maybe first to prepare themselves, to understand what it takes to develop the mindset, the skills that are necessary to transition from employee to entrepreneur?
Yeah, there's definitely an employee mindset and an entrepreneur mindset. And if you're going to make that transition successfully, you have to be aware that there's a second mindset, which is the entrepreneur's mindset. It's a completely different way of thinking. So the first thing I would tell them to do is to talk to people in business. If they have a particular business type that they're industry that they're thinking to go into, if you want to start a car wash, talk to someone who owns a car wash. If you want to be a real estate agent, if you want to do whatever it is, talk to people that are already doing that. And you'd be surprised how many people are more than willing to talk with people who are thinking about going into an industry that they're already in. Because if they're truly mentor capacity, if they're truly mentors, they're more than happy to help to shorten someone else's learning curve. And that's what mentorship is all about. So the first thing is do your homework.
Yeah, definitely.
Find out what it really means to be in that industry before you jump out and do it on your own.
Yeah, I'll come to the mentoring part because it's very important to immigrants.
Sure.
Small business owners, because the culture is new, the system and so on. But before that, I want you to give a clear picture to our audience. If you need to compare the mindset of employees and entrepreneurs, what would that be? I mean,
so
employees
have a tendency to be focused on their job description and simply doing the things that they're asked to do in exchange for a paycheck. So a lot of times, you feel like if you've been loyal to the employer, if you've been here for 100 years, and if you are just doing what you're required to do, that you're being successful in employment. Well, doing those things doesn't automatically translate into success for the company. Sometimes there's ups and downs in the market. There's all kinds of things happening around that will determine whether the company itself is being successful. The entrepreneur has to be focused on those things, because regardless of whether the employees are doing what was asked of them in their job description, that has to be leveraged to lead to profitability to sustain and grow the company. So employees tend to be focused on transactions, on job description, on tasks to be completed, while entrepreneurs have to be visionaries. We have to see where the opportunities are for growth in the company, what kinds of things are out here that might threaten the company's future that can be adjusted for before it happens, and where there are new and emerging opportunities for the company to be able to move into new markets and things, where an employee might be more focused on, am I getting my job responsibilities done at the highest level possible?
In terms of strategy too, when you are an employee, you just focus on your job descriptions, and you focus only on short term. But when you are an entrepreneur, you need to project into the future, come up with some strategies on how to expand your market, how to make sure that you connect with prospective customers too.
Exactly. And then going back to the whole concept of connecting, as an employee, most employees are able to do what is necessary in their job description without a lot of interaction with other people. They don't need to build relationships outside the company, for example, to be able to execute the duties that they've typically been hired for. It's not true of everyone. Salespeople have to do it, but a lot, like a receptionist or an administrative person, they're not usually as dependent on getting out and making new relationships. But an entrepreneur has to be building new relationships every single day. They have to be in the mindset of building business relationships at all levels possible, because you never know when someone might have a new opportunity for you, but if you didn't have the connection to them, they wouldn't even know that you existed.
Yeah, this really reminds me one of the workshops that I provide to people who are making transition from being employee to supervisor or manager.
Yeah.
The transition is very tough, because the mindset that you had to succeed as an employee is totally different when you become a supervisor or a manager. Likewise, your mindset helped you to succeed as an employee, but you need another mindset to succeed as a small business owner. So
so if I had to sum it up, I would say that the typical mindset, and there's nothing wrong with these mindsets, they're just different. The typical mindset of the employee is to do my job well. The typical mindset of an entrepreneur is to be open to opportunities and to seek out and to take advantage of the opportunity to grow my business.
To have the bigger picture, to see more pictures, long-term issues than just focusing on your own.
To see a much bigger picture, that's true.
Yeah. Let's take a very quick break and we'll be back, and we'll continue from where we started. Dear our viewers, we're going to be back very soon. Stay tuned.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it. First impression. My way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans, because love has no labels.
Welcome back to Pick Yourself Up Show. I'm Assegid Habtewold. I'm having discussion with Glenn Garnes. He is the founder of Small Business CEO. We're going to continue our discussion. Glenn, tell me more about the services that you provide.
So Small Business CEO itself is a business organization that combines a variety of different resources that we believe small business owners need to accelerate the pace at which they can grow. So we have what we call the M3 factor in small business. And those 3 M's stand for mindset, mentorship, and momentum. And I will tell you that even though the order is mindset, mentorship and momentum, that most people start by being interested in the resources we've created to create momentum because they're sexier.
Okay.
So I'm going to start from there.
Okay.
Every one of our members, we help them create momentum in their business by interviewing them on our Small Business CEO TV show, which is designed to tell their story. One of the most powerful things you can do in business is to let people get to know you as they're getting to know your business, so that you're literally humanizing yourself to both your customers and to your colleagues. So we start them off with a TV show interview that we feature on our website and share out so that people can get to know these business owners on a much higher level than if they were just taking out an ad. The second thing that we do, of course, is the mentorship. And I'm going to come back to that last just because I think that's a big one.
Yeah, I want to.
If you had to ask me which
deeper
one was the
into
most important, mentorship. So mindset, we have online courses that can teach from everything from how to get started in business, how to market your business, how to manage your business, how to sell your business, how to gain capital, how to get capital and to grow your business. And the online courses are all conveniently available on demand. So again, people can do that any time of day. If you're a brand new entrepreneur and you work full time and you're working on the side, after hours and weekend, you can log into the Learning Center and get access to that anytime you want. You don't have to worry about showing up at an event or something like that to learn more.
Especially though, people are very busy in the United States, and having that opportunity, virtual opportunity, to help themselves go to the next level in terms of getting momentum and also, shaping and reconfiguring their mindset.
Exactly. I describe that as the Netflix economy, where people like to watch stuff when they want to watch it, not when it's scheduled.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Let's talk about the third one, which is the mentoring part. Do you have any personal experience where mentoring helped you? Oh,
of course. In my law practice, I learned primarily from other lawyers in the firm, the first firm that I started with.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I was able to leave that law firm less than 2 years into my law practice and go out and start my own firm. Yeah, pretty quick.
Very quick, yeah.
Exactly. But I paid very close attention to what the senior partners were doing to be successful in developing relationships in their business, or with their clients and with referral sources. I watched everything they did. I soaked it up like a sponge, and it had to shave at least 10 years off my learning curve. So that's true of any business endeavor. It doesn't have to be the practice of law. I've also learned from other business owners. I was learning from my clients that I was representing.
Yeah.
That's why I got so excited about being in business for myself. Law practice wasn't really, in my opinion, a business per se. But I learned how quickly my clients were enjoying, or how much my clients were enjoying their businesses, their traditional businesses. And I learned from them by just watching and being in the room when they're talking about plans that they had and how they made connections and who they were looking to partner with and what their purpose was for acquiring this company. And it shifted my mindset, which is why I got out of the practice of law and decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. By the way, when clients come to me to get service in terms of coaching or mentoring, to for example, open a new business, or when they have a new position and so on, I'm a leadership expert. So I help them take their leadership to the next level. And the first thing I do is showing them the difference between coaching and mentoring.
Yes.
Because they are totally different. As you said, mentoring provides you the opportunity, you as a mentor, to learn from the mentee. When you are a coach, for example, somebody may coach me about, for example, how to use a software. For instance, you coach me quickly in 3 sessions and so on. That's it. Mentoring is about me sharing my ups and my downs, my mindset, how I would have handled this situation and that situation. It's a two-way street where I'm also learning from my mentee and so on.
That's right. That's exactly right. It's about a relationship.
Yeah.
A lot of times, now coaching can involve relationships, but coaching can sometimes be a little bit more transactional, whereas mentorship is kind of, I think of the old TV show Kung Fu, where there was Grasshopper and then the Grand Master. And that's a mentorship relationship where the Grand Master is there to make sure that Grasshopper is thinking and asking the right questions and understanding principles and learning things faster through their own discovery. But at the same time, it's also about helping somebody to understand what questions they should be asking. I have people come to me all the time and they have one thing in their mind, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, have you thought about this, this, and this? And they were like, wow, I never thought about that. It would have taken me years to figure that out, or to even think that I should be focused on that. So mentorship should be about shortening your learning curve, but doing it in a way where you have the ability to discover things for yourself, so that as you are going through mentorship, you're actually better equipping yourself to think for yourself in the future as well.
I like what you said, to discover yourself, because in coaching, the goal is to help you go to the next level, show you how to get there. But mentoring is about helping you, asking you the right questions so that you could be able to dig deeper and find solutions. In that case, you own it, because you're the
That's right.
one answering the solutions, because the mentor's job is to ask you the right questions.
Exactly. And through that process, it reveals the answers that you should have been seeking.
And then you own it, because you are the one who figured that out and you pulled it out. But if somebody tells you do this and do that, you don't really own it. And
Yeah,
you don't
anybody
really
can give you a
feel
list
like
of things
exactly.
to do, but when it becomes something that, as you pointed
Yeah.
out, you discover you discover with someone else's help, you're more vested in making sure that you go out and master that.
I'm interested in the mentoring. Part of the reason, I am an immigrant entrepreneur. I have a small business. And I remember how the learning curve was very tough. I've been in the United States for the past 13 years. Language barrier, cultural barriers. I didn't know the system. And mentoring helped me a lot, because people told me, AZ, you need to have, for example, MBE certification, small business. I didn't know about that. How can I know that? But somebody who's a small business owner in the United States, born and raised here, could be able to know that kind of things. But for an immigrant like myself, the learning curve was too long, and that was very tough for me. So what would you advise to small business owners, immigrant small business owners?
Well, this
what
would
they
apply.
should do, yeah.
This would apply to anyone, but especially to people who are new to the country. Anytime you've got everything that's new around you, your environment, the culture, the language, you can't afford to wait until you have learned everything on your own. So surrounding yourself with the right people. And most smart business owners, most smart entrepreneurs, they have multiple mentors. They might have a life coach, a mentor that's giving them general life advice. They may have a mentor that helps them with business. They may have a mentor that helps them with a specific aspect of business, like marketing or raising capital in business. And the reason I mention those is because I personally have all of those people in my circle of influence that mentor me. I'm supposed to be an expert on social media and internet marketing, but I also have experts that I go to that help me to acquire the skills that allow me to be useful to other people. So have your cabinet, if you will, your circle of influence needs to be filled with people who know more about the topics that you need to know to be successful in your business. So it helps to have an attorney. It doesn't have to be someone that you're hiring as an attorney. You should know an attorney. Yeah. You should know an accountant. You should know a business consultant. You should know people who regularly, buy and sell businesses, a business broker. These are all people that are speaking and understanding the language of business and can bring you up to speed a lot faster than if you ever had to figure all this out on your own.
One thing, I quickly learned that as an immigrant, you tend to be with your own people because, you understand the culture, that's your comfort zone. But one thing that I learned is that if I want to do business in the United States, I need to have mentors, friends, and colleagues from other cultures. So I had American friends.
Yeah.
And I remember I attended some of your events,
yeah.
and I remember some of the things that I learned for the first time. I remember I heard you talking about Fivers, for example.
Exactly.
How to use, for example, back then, I think 5 years or 6 years ago, back then I was not using even video camera, promoting my business using my video clips. I didn't. I learned that because I came to mingle with people from other cultures.
Exactly. So one of the things I would tell you is that success is just on the other side of your comfort zone.
Exactly. I like that.
I talked about this on my radio show the other day. We were talking about how people go to networking events and they tend to look for a familiar face and they spend all their time talking to people they already know.
Someone they know.
Right. Yeah. Where you should be looking to expand, business network events should be about expanding your circle of influence, and then you follow up with them later and get to know them better. But the same is true of mentors. You're going to want to expand your circle of influence in a way that gives you access to more and more people that have more and more experiences, more and more ideas.
Yeah.
Because that gives you the greatest opportunity to excel and to find, first of all, you got to find someone that you resonate with. Not everyone that's got experience with a topic is going to be someone who you're going to vibrate well with. So you might want to have multiple people in each of those areas. But you meet those people by opening yourself up to getting out of that comfort zone
Exactly.
and getting out and having conversations. You know, you'd be surprised how many people will be happy to go grab a cup of coffee with you and just get to know each other.
Always ask, knock.
Exactly.
And it will be open to you and answer to you. One thing you mentioned that I want to emphasize is about the importance of affinity, because you have to find someone, a mentor that you have affinity, because you're not just looking for technical skills or somebody's experience. You are also looking to find connection with that mentor, because the deeper the connection, the greater the chance that person going to help you. You're going to help yourself.
That's exactly right. I like to use an analogy that I think anyone can relate to, which is this. Over our lifetime, especially when we're younger, we might date a lot of people, but we don't marry all of them.
Yeah.
You know, we get to know them and find out if they're a good fit. You have to do the same thing with mentors. You don't marry
until
a
you
mentor.
find someone and get married.
But that's a matter of having a conversation, finding out, you know, whether that personality is compatible with yours, and also deciding who you respect enough to listen.
Yeah, if you don't respect, you don't listen to
That's
that person.
right.
I think mentors also should make that kind of assessment too. Is this mentee the right? Because some people come up to me and say, you know, Assegid, I want to become a trainer, a facilitator, a speaker, author. And sometimes I ask some questions. So when I ask them, I could be able to see that I'm not the right mentor to them.
Well, you're absolutely right about that. And mentors, serious mentors, people that are consciously being mentors, they're basically talent scouts. They're looking for who they want. They're very selective about who they'll invest their time with. And the reason for that is that they want to make sure that if they take the time to share information with someone, that person's going to take it and go do some good with it.
Yeah, they're very busy. They have a lot of things on their plate. So we want to make sure that they find the right mentee.
But they're also looking to have an impact.
Yeah, definitely.
I can share information with a lot of people, but that they don't do anything with it, then I have just wasted my time and theirs.
Yeah, which you
and the
cannot
time of the people
recover.
they could have helped.
Definitely, definitely. Let me ask you, do you have some immigrant members, small business
Oh,
owners?
absolutely. I can think of off the top of my head at least 3 different countries that we have members from: Canada, Jamaica, Panama, and the Dominican Republic. So it's actually 4.
Wow.
And that's just off the top of my head.
Why don't you count me too? And
You know what? I didn't count you. You know, it's funny. I really should. Ethiopia, that's a 5th one. So.
Oh yeah, and also Ethiopia is the seat of African Union. So
There you
have
go.
African countries.
Absolutely.
How can people reach out to you if you want to be a member or if they want to talk to you?
Well, we actually have a free resource I'd like to let people know about. It's really pretty simple. We call it the Partners in Profit Program. And it's a free service that we as small business CEO members offer to the rest of the entrepreneur community. And it includes some videos and some downloadable forms to fill out and a bunch of other resources. It includes my book, about partnership and choosing the right people to go into business with. You get both the audio version and the PDF version of that book you can download immediately. So that kit, all that's available for free if you just go to tipsonsuccess.com, www.tipsonsuccess.com. And you just fill in your name and your email address, and then the system will automatically send you the resources for you to download and take advantage of.
All right. On behalf of our viewers, thank you very much for coming. I know you're very busy, but you gave us your time, and we appreciate that. Dear our viewers, this is my hope that you enjoyed our conversation. Until I see you next time, have a wonderful time. Thank you very much for watching.